Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Racha, Kodash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder, Aharawan Banya Sharala of the Lions Den Camp, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. Salutations to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Harab Banya Sharala, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharala, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. Now today I'll be coming out a lesson, and it is on this article that I've seen in the little news app that I'll be looking at, and it says here, police open fire on demonstrators trying to storm Kenyan Parliament. Several dead and dozens wounded. Now this is the title, but as we read, it'll show what actually happened and what led up to it. So without further ado, it says this is item 1 of 5. Protesters attended a demonstration against Kenya's proposed finance bill in Nairobi, Kenya, June 25th. So this is about 6 hours ago. What is it? Monica Mwangi. I guess that was the journalist but let's continue. It says protesters attend a demonstration. We already read that already. It says, here we go. You see all that summary of protesters, police clash outside of Parliament, at least 5 shot dead, witnesses. Strike called against proposed tax increase, because over there in Kenya and stuff, they had over there in the land, we'll say Africa, whatever, but over there, put Canaan, whatever you want to call it. Them Kenyans, and of course it's Jake over there too as well. But over there they poor, and they're poor by reason of Edomites. So Salakia, they're poor by reason of those Edomites, and they're already raising taxes. They're already having problems with food, power, and so many other things. So this is why the people in Kenya were protesting against the government. So let's continue. Protests take other people. Let's go. It says police opened fire on demonstrators trying to storm Kenya's legislature on Tuesday, with at least 5 protesters killed, dozens wounded, and sections of the parliament building set ablaze as lawmakers inside passed legislation to raise taxes. So these people are already, already at their wits' end. It says, in chaotic scenes, protesters overwhelmed police and chased them away in an attempt to storm the parliament compound. Flames could be seen coming from inside because, over there, it's only so far you can push people, and it's only so much extortion and oppression that you could do to people before they buck up and retaliate. You know what I'm saying? The same thing that's happening here right now at the moment in Kenya, that's going to come to America, and it's going to be 10 to 100 times worse. But let's continue. It says police opened fire after tear gas and water cannon failed to disperse crowds. A Reuters journalist counted bodies of at least 5 protesters outside Parliament. A paramedic, Vivian Akista, said at least 10 had been shot dead. Another paramedic, Richard Ngumo, said more than 50 people had been wounded by gunfire. He was lifting 2 injured protesters into ambulances outside of Parliament. We want to shut down the Parliament, and every MP should go down and resign, protester David Tafari, who was trying to enter Parliament, told Reuters. We will have a new government. It says protesters clashes also took place in several other cities and towns across the country. So that's just an uproar of the people, It says Parliament approved the finance bill, moving it through to a 3rd reading by lawmakers. The next step is for the legislation to be sent to the president for signing. He can send it back to Parliament if he has any objections. The protesters opposed tax rises in a country already reeling from a cost of living crisis, so they can't even really pay their bills to live in a house. And many are also calling for President William Ruto to step down. Them other foreign countries, they don't play. You start doing tomfoolery, they're going to be like, boy, you got to go over here in Babylon, America. People stupid. They won't do this stuff like this. But let's continue. It says Ruto won an election almost 2 years ago on a platform of championing Kenya's working poor, but has been caught between the competing, or should I say competing, demands of lenders such as the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, which is urging the government to cut deficits to access more funding. A hard-pressed population. It says Kenyans have been struggling to cope with several economic shocks caused by the lingering impact of you already know what that is. You see it, so I'm gonna keep on going. The war in Ukraine. Oh wow! Magically, the war in Ukraine is also affecting other people around the world as well. It's that bad, huh? But let's go. This is the war in Ukraine. 2 consecutive years of drought and depreciation of the currency. See, that's what's causing people the problems. We already know who's the main culprit of that problem, who's at the center of it. But let's continue. It says the finance bill aims to raise an additional 2.7 billion in taxes as part of an effort to lighten the heavy debt load. Yeah, you're gonna lighten the debt load by charging and taxing the people beyond what they don't have. That's a way to run something. But let's continue. It says with interest payments alone consuming 37% of annual revenue. So people ain't even got enough money to even do anything with over there in Kenya right now because of the government, because of Esau. The government has already made some concessions, promising to scrap proposed new taxes on bread, cooking oil, car ownership, and financial transactions. But that has not been enough to satisfy protesters. This is really not. It's not going to be enough. Let's continue. It says Tuesday's protests begin in a festival-like atmosphere, but as crowds swelled, police fired tear gas in Nairobi's central business district and the poor neighborhood of Kibera, or is that Kibera? Protesters ducked for cover and threw stones at police lines. Police also fired tear gas in Eldoret, Ruto's hometown in western Kenya, where crowds of protesters filled the streets and many businesses were closed for fear of violence. Clashes broke out in the coastal city of Mombasa, and demonstrations took place in Kisumu, on Lake Victoria, and Garissa in eastern Kenya, where the police blocked the main road to Somalia's port of Kismayu. It says in Nairobi, people chanted Ruto must go, and crowds sang in Swahili. All can be possible without Ruto. Music played from loudspeakers and protesters waved Kenyan flags and blew whistles in the few hours before the violence escalated. It says police did not respond to Reuters for comment. So, of course, they probably shot a lot of unarmed people that was just protesting, mad at the government, of course, so you know how that go. They quick to shoot people that can't shoot back, But let's continue. That's the Esau sentiment right there. But let's continue. It says thousands had taken to the streets of Nairobi and several other cities during the 2 days of protest last week as an online youth-led movement gathered momentum. On Sunday, Ruto praised the protesters, saying they had been peaceful and that the government would engage with them on the way forward. But while protesters initially focused on the finance bill, their demands have broadened to demands Ruto's resignation, because he got in there with that tomfoolery. He pulled a Democrat move. Oh, he for the people. He doing all this and get in there and then pass some tomfoolery. This is what these Democrats do over here in Babylon, America. And then the same thing with these Republicans. They do that, but see, the Republicans, they do it behind closed doors. But let's continue. This is the opposition declined to participate in the vote in Parliament, shouting "reject, reject." When the House went through the items one by one, the bill will then be subjected to a third and final vote by acclamation on the floor of the House. The finance minister says amendments would blow a 200 billion Kenyan shilling hole, or $1.56 billion, 24 and compel the government to make spending cuts or raise taxes elsewhere. And this is all by design. We know this. But continuing, it says, they are budgeting for corruption, said protester Hussein Ali, I guess young man. We won't relent. It is the government that is going to back off, not us. So, as you can see, that's an uproar of the people. And they over there protesting because they already are having problems day by day getting their daily bread. So they're protesting. They like, man, get up out of here. And this is just an uproar of the people. But the Lord prophesied and said that these things will happen. This is 2 Esdras chapter 9. Verse 3. I was going to start up at the top. Oh, well, I will. Let's go. It says, this is 2 Esdras chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the times diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest began to visit the world which he made. So, just like Esdras was told to measure the times, so that he could understand the times that he was living in, that same thing applies to this time. And we are to measure the times too, and that's what we're doing. That's how we know that we are in the end. That's how we know that we're in Revelations, the revealing. Because the Lord has spoken of these things before. And in doing that, you will understand that it's the very same time where the Heavenly Father is going to visit we're in the highest. Yahweh Yahushua is going to visit the earth which he made. How? Verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So when we're hearing about these earthquakes, when we're hearing about landslides, storms, stuff like that, we're hearing about such things as uproars of the people protesting, fighting against the government. That is how we know what times that we are in. That's how we are going to well understand that the Lord spake of these things before time. These things were already put into play from the beginning. And what people don't understand here in Babylon, America, this is coming to America. And it is going to be 100 times worse. Yeah, I want to say 1,000,000 times worse. It's going to be way worse than what we have been seeing in these articles and the videos that Esau does allow on these platforms, so that it can be seen what's going on around the four corners of the earth. Because see, Esau, he trying to run damage mitigation right now because he really trying to keep that from coming here. But these things like this protest of this level and greater are going to come here to Babylon, America. Let's continue. Let's go to 2 Esdras 15, my last point. And I'll end it. So these uproars of the people, this is how you know where we're in. Here we go. This is 2 Esdras 15, verse 16, my last point. It says, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So there you go. It's going to be sedition among men, and we see that. We see the sedition in other nations that is coming here. And when it comes here, guess what? People here, people going to be invading one another. They're not going to regard their kings nor princes, i.e. their government or parliament. They're not going to be abiding according to the laws. They're not going to be minding the police. People are going to take actions into their own hands because they're going to be stressed to a point to where there is nothing else. But it's all by design. This is how Esau moves. He has to create the chaos in order to bring order, because if this was to die down, people would not rally. People would not protest. People would not become angry. So Esau has to make up this stuff as it happens. But what he doesn't understand is that he's in the trick bag, and the Lord got him doing these things. But such as these seditions and uproars of the men, that's going to come here in America. And it's going to be 10 times worse, 1,000,000 times, however worse. It's going to be that much more the worse when it gets here in America. It's going to be sedition among men. There's going to be people invading one another. They're not going to regard no authoritative figures, no authoritative powers. People are going to start taking actions in their own hands. That's what it means by, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. People are going to take matters into their own hands. and do what they're going to do. Remember the movie Civil War? That's just a glimpse of what is actually going to happen and come here to America. I'm going to jump up. Let's see. Verse 12. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and the punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. And sedition is one of those things that's going to smite this place. That's going to shake the foundations of this place. And this place is also spiritually Sodom and Egypt as well. But this place is going to mourn. The foundation of this place is going to be smitten with the plague and the punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. Ultimately, the destruction of this place. But things are leading up. There's a climax that is happening, and we're almost at the top. But there's still some things that's got to happen. But protests and sedition and uproars of the people and all that things will be coming to Babylon soon. Shalom.